All right, give me just a moment and I will get the slide deck up. While you guys are waiting for me to get the slide deck up, if you guys want to put in the comments, where are you calling in from today? Let me see it in the chat. Where are you guys calling in from today? New York. Is it cold in New York? I'm in California. It's starting to warm up. It's supposed to be like almost 80 today. Don't hate me. Florida. We got Florida, so it's probably warm for you in Florida. It's still cold in New York. I appreciate that. All right, guys. Let me get this up over here and get the presentation going. All right, we should be good. Let me get my screen sharing up. If you got questions while we're going through this, drop them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer those. I know this is a live Q&A, so I am going to share some information, but I do like it when you guys ask questions along the way. It's going to help you guys learn and get there faster. So, all right, let me share my screen. Okay. So today, like I said, what I want to talk about is locating deals. If you guys are new and you've never met me before, my name is Stephen Lee Thomas. I'm a multifamily investor, business coach, entrepreneur, and a podcast host. Real quick, while I've got this topic of the podcast, I am curious, would any of you guys be interested in joining a live podcast? If I was to record a podcast, would you be interested in joining? And then maybe at the end of it, we could open it up for Q&A for the guest. I'm curious. I've thought about that several times, but I've got some of you on the line. I would love to get your feedback. If I was to do a live podcast, would you guys want to join and listen in and maybe ask some questions of the guest? Let's see here. Am I getting some yeses and getting some nos? All right. Well, just let me know what your thoughts are if we were to do that, because that might be something that would be beneficial for the community as well. Real quick, also, if you don't know, haven't met me before, our portfolio as principal. So we've done quite a few deals. I think we're up over a few thousand units across the board. And as you can see, these are larger apartment complexes. These are not duplexes. These are not fourplexes. They're not even a 10-unit deal. I think the smallest one here is an 84-unit deal. So we've got a 70-unit deal. So we've got some experience. We know what we're doing. We've gone full cycle on a number of these deals. But what you came here for was to learn how to find deals. So in multifamily space, there's really 5 pillars that you need to be focusing on. There's 5 areas that you really need to be focusing on. And so the first one is your mindset and getting started. And why is that important? Because a lot of people, when they get started, they know where they want to be. They want to get to point B. They want a clear and proven strategy to hit their goals. They want a proven scalable system, and they want to be on a path to become financially free. We all start over here, though. We all have this, I don't know how to get there. So here are really the 5 pillars you need to be focusing on. The one we're going to jump into today is locating deals. I'm going to help you figure out how to find some deals and get that deal flow coming to you. So here's some options. There's a lot of different options. A lot of people are going to tell you different ways to get deals, and that's okay. I'm going to share with you my experience. Off-market deals. I'm going to address this one first. Everybody wants an off-market deal, and everybody thinks the only way they're going to make money is off an off-market deal, especially when you're first getting started. I'm going to share a little bit more with you about this, but off-market deals, you can spend a lot of time waiting for an off-market deal, and there's actually better ways to get deals. So we're going to go through some of those. There's your team. As you get a little bit further along, there's the people on your team. And some of that's going to be your team consists of property management companies. Your team consists of your lender. Your team consists of your insurance. So we're going to get into that more. So you have your team. I'm going to show you live. We're going to get into LoopNet and CREXI and Zillow. I'm going to show you some strategies of how you can find deals there. That's probably the fastest way to do it. You also have brokers. You have your National Apartment Association chapters. You have owners. There's some paid subscriptions, investor groups, and then also within this community, I'm sure there's some deals that you guys could find and share with each other. And that's one of the reasons why we have this community. But I think the bottom line here is it's not really what you know, it's who you know. Those deals are going to come to you after building relationships. So let's go through some of these bullets here, and then we'll go into the live search for these deals. All right. So we have off-market deals. I was just on a call with somebody. We were talking about off-market deals. True off-market deals come to buyers with experience with the broker. So if you're new and just getting started, you probably shouldn't be expecting off-market deals. Um, I wish it was a different story, but most deals come to a broker, and the broker, if it's really off-market, they're going to bring it to someone with experience. Also, I'll share another story with you. In my coaching program, there's someone who's new and they're going through and they're learning how to underwrite. And I asked them, how are you doing with their underwriting? And he said, well, I got a deal and I don't have an offering memorandum. That's the brochure. He said, I just have a rent roll in T12 and it's really hard for me to underwrite it. So when you're new, the reality of it is you're probably not going to get an off-market deal, and that's okay. Okay. The other thing you want to realize is a lot of deals are going to be advertised as off-market and they're just not fully advertised. So if a broker has a deal, even though it's off-market, the broker's sending it out to anybody who might actually be able to move forward with that deal. The other thing I would say is I would not recommend calling brokers, especially when you're new and asking for off-market deals. I would reserve that for after you've built a relationship, maybe you've done a couple deals, then they have faith in you and they trust you that you would be able to move forward with an off-market deal. So I'm not saying don't go after off-market deals, but I am saying a lot of people who have joined the group have a background or they're working on wholesaling. And the strategy there is to find off-market deals. When you get into apartment complexes, that does not work for you nearly as well. It just doesn't. So just understand that, just embrace it, that you don't chase after off-market deals. There's a lot of deals out there that aren't off-market that are going to work out for you. All right, deals from your team. Once you are a little bit further along, if you're brand new, there are people on your team, and maybe you've got some of these relationships already. But the lenders, I had a lender bring me a deal, and we closed on that deal. But it was a lender, it was a mortgage broker actually brought me the deal, and I said, "Who else did you send this to?" And he's like, "Actually, I just sent it to you because I know what you're looking for." So I had built up that relationship. Your attorneys, if you're working with them, there's attorneys you work with on these apartment deals, you can hit them up because they know a lot about what's going on. Property management companies, I've used this strategy before, reached out to the property management companies and said, hey, do you guys know any deals that are going to be coming online here before too long? Because um, we're looking to buy. And they say, well, what are you looking for? And because they know because most of the time the owners will go to them and say, hey, there's properties for sale, or there's contractors. And there's other people that are in your team, people that you work with, where you can be getting deals from. LoopNet and CREXI. We're going to do a live on that and we're going to show you how to search for some deals. And so I guarantee you, right after this call, if you wanted to, you could go get some deals and start looking at them. It's a really good way to start searching for deals and practicing your underwriting because don't have to you don't have to actually chat with the brokers. You can get quite a bit of information that way. Um, it also allows you, and I'll show you how to do this, start building your database and reaching out to brokers, and you start to get a good understanding for the market pricing and other stuff, and it's totally free. So this is great. Actually, I met with a broker yesterday. We just hopped on a call just to chat, and I was sharing with him. I said, for me, using LoopNet is a way for me to find brokers and start building that relationship. And he's like, "Yep, that's exactly what you need to be doing." So that was from a broker. There's your if you are going out into your community, you're active in your community, there's your National Apartment Association chapter. Maybe you have a local chapter. That is probably where you're going to find some more of your mom and pop owners, some of your smaller deals. If you're looking for off market, this might be a better strategy for you. There are other, it's a good source for education. There's the owners there. You start asking them questions. Some places don't have chapters. Some do, some are good, some are not, and then they'll have additional resources there. So if your strategy is really on off-market deals, you can go here and start building those relationships. All right, listing brokers, and this one's my favorite. Listing brokers, that's their job. Their job is to get deals. As an owner, if I'm going to sell my property, I'm going to take it to a broker because the broker is going to go get for me as many buyers as possible for that deal. They've been building relationships and they build their own database of potential buyers. So 80% of the deals um, greater than 60 units are going to come from brokers. As you get smaller, that might go down a little bit, but even that, as I'm looking at 20 unit deals, 30 unit deals, even that stuff, it's coming from brokers because it makes more sense for me to market my deal and get multiple offers and get top dollar than to try to sell it off market. That's just the reality of it. So saying it a little bit different, this is what the brokers do all day long. They look for deals. So your best friend in finding deals is going to be a broker. Um, the other thing I'll say is it takes some time. The first deal is not going to work out. The second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, that's okay. You actually need to underwrite several deals before you even make an offer. You need to understand the deals there. So I wouldn't go too aggressive there. And then I think this is really important as well. Be honest. Tell them you're new. Tell them that you're just starting to look at deals. Tell them that you're new to the market and understanding things because that is way better than telling them, oh, I've got this big group of people that I'm working with and we've got millions of dollars and we're going to take down the first deal you send us because it's not true. Maybe it is if you're far enough along, but these are real people, and what you don't want to do is burn your bridges with the broker. So the best thing you can do is be truthful, and if you know your criteria, share that with them. So you're looking for newer deals, you're looking for older deals, you're looking for under 20 units, you're looking for over 60 units, you're looking for properties between 1980 and 2000. The more specific you can be, the better those brokers can do at getting deals for you. But in my opinion, this is your best place to be getting deals. There are other owners, even me who has a very large network, and I know hundreds of owners. Those owners, they still take their deals to brokers. But you can find them smaller mom and pop stuff. Like I said, you can get them from your local NAA chapter. You can go to some events and find them, but once again, most owners are going to sell with a broker. At the MLS. So unless you've got some type of real estate license, you probably don't have access to the MLS, but you do have access to Zillow. And almost everything that's on the MLS is going to be on Zillow. And that is really going to be good for smaller deals. It's probably not as good of an option for larger deals. As you go out, and I'll show you some examples here, as you go out and start looking in some of these other resources, LoopNet, CREXI, they will offer you a paid subscription. You don't need those at all. And actually, I don't recommend it. You can if you want, but I don't recommend it. CoStar and CREXI. So LoopNet, the paid one is CoStar. There's CREXI. These are national databases for properties. And you will find they have deals for sale, but still I think you're better with a broker. And then they offer national and regional and local subscriptions. So they have different subscription levels. So I'm going to start sharing my screen here in just a moment, and we're going to go through LoopNet, CREXI, MLS, and a couple other options. Actually, we're going to look at a couple of brokerage sites. So before I do that, I'm just checking, do I have any questions from you guys? So I do need your help. We're going to go find a market here, and I want you guys to tell me a market. What market do you guys want to check? I can give you some options. We can do Dallas, we can do Houston, we can do Atlanta, we can do Jacksonville, Florida, we can do North Carolina, West Palm Beach. Let's try West Palm Beach. Let's see what we can find here. Okay, I like it. Thank you for dropping that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to, in LoopNet, we're going to go to for sale. We're going to multifamily, and we're going to go look up. All right, we got Jacksonville and West Palm Beach. We can look at both of those. West Palm Beach. And let's see what we get in West Palm Beach. So, all right, West Palm Beach is down here, and we can jump up to Jacksonville as well. So here's what I got. I now am starting to find some deals here in West Palm Beach. Um, but I'm going to do a little bit of filtering. So this is going to be a geographic view, but we can add a few cities in here if we wanted to. We could expand this search. So I'm going to go into my filters. I am going to do a couple things here. I'm going to get rid of, see, here you go. They want me to uh, sign up, but I'm not going to do that. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. Manufactured, I don't want. Dormitory, I don't want. High rise, I don't want. Mid rise, I don't want. I am going to leave low rise and garden. So, Travis, you said West Palm Beach. I'd like to expand this area a little bit. Can you give me some names of some of the other cities in the area? Because I don't know that area very well. Boca Raton. Okay, so we're gonna add Boca Raton, and we're also gonna add in here Wellington. All right. Wellington, Florida. Okay, so now we're gonna expand our search here a little bit. We probably don't want to mess with auctions. You could even do you could exclude pending sales, you can bring them up. The idea here is you're trying to find deals to just start looking at. You're trying to find deals to start getting familiar with the market. You're trying to find deals to start your underwriting practice. And I'll show you how you can find brokers to start reaching out to. All right, I'm gonna add a few more here. Travis, thanks for adding those in. Del Rey. Maybe I'm not spelling that right. So, oh, Del Rey. No, that one's not coming up, but you got a couple other here. Riviera, Riviera Beach, Florida. All right. That should give us a big enough space. Um, so from here, what you can do, they have cap rates. I like to leave this open because I know that probably this isn't going to be the deal that I'm going to find. I'm really looking more, like I said, for brokers. But maybe I want to limit my year built. I could do that. Maybe I want to limit my number of units. So I could say 60 units or less, 100 units or less, or I want to do greater than 20 units. So I will probably do this. I'll probably do bigger than 20 units. And I'll say 1970 or newer. Okay. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to hit search, and then I've only got a few options here. So let me go back to my filters. Let me clear some things up. Probably I lost some here. What this tells me right away, quickly, this is interesting, is maybe there's not a whole lot available, but we can still do this. And we'll also jump into Jacksonville as well. We got Jupiter. I'll open this up. I still don't see a whole lot here, but that's okay. We'll jump over to Jacksonville here in a second. I only see two properties available here. Seems like it might be a little bit more of a challenging area to find some deals, but that's okay. Let's move forward, and then we'll go over to the Jacksonville area. So what I can do on this is probably going to be some good information, and if you could do this to any location. This is a smaller property, a couple of smaller properties. And what I have here is the data room, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. And I now have access to brokers. This is a way that I can quickly and easily find brokers in the area, and I can actually start reaching out to them. Another option we have, and we're gonna look. I want to make sure you have a good overview of what's available to you, because not every property that you go to is gonna have this locked. You'll be able to get what's called an OM, an offering memorandum. So we'll look at that here in a second. All right, we're gonna click here. All right, let's connect with Google. As long as I don't have to share my password on screen. Okay, we're good. All right, so even if this says click here to access, nah, I should normally it is not this, it doesn't block you this much. So I'm going to pick a different property. So maybe in Boca Raton, West Palm Beach, it might be a little bit more challenging to find some deals. So we are going to find some other deals to to get the access to. The point, just real quickly, the point is I could pretty quickly and easily, here I've got a deal. I can reach out to any of these guys and I can say, hey, show me more details about this deal. So now you have access to brokers. Here I've got information, I got a phone number, and I can just go ahead and reach out to this guy. I am going to switch though. I am going to Scarlett. You're on. You said Jacksonville, Florida. Let's go take a look at Jacksonville and see what we can find there. So let me clear my filters. We'll go do this, and this. Jacksonville. Clear everything here. And we'll go to Jacksonville, Florida. We'll start fresh. LoopNet.com. You know, you're live, and that's what happens. That's what happens when you're live. You always meet challenges, but that is okay. So for sale, I do multifamily. Let's check out Jacksonville. These are markets I have not looked at. I have frequently looked at some of the Texas markets, but let's see what we get in Jacksonville. So here in Jacksonville, we got quite a few deals, a little bit larger area. Scarlett, are there any areas you want to add into this search just to see what we've got? So here's a 48 unit deal. All right. So this one, what they're doing is, so now you can have access to this guy, Bill. You've got a phone number here if you want to reach out to him. And we could even look at the floor plans here. But I want to find is a deal where we've got an offering memorandum. So I'm going to poke around. I'm going to find some of those deals where we might have an offering memorandum. Let's see. 4 units, 2 units. I'm going to make this a little bit. See if we can get a minimum of 10 units. Two properties, 16 units. Let's see if we can find an offering memorandum here. Here's the website. So here's another broker. Here's a website. And if you go to this website, you're going to find the properties. So this is another way that I was going to show you how to do it, and we'll go in there. But now you can go to this broker's website if you find them, and you can actually start seeing some of the deals that they have available. So once again, the point here is if you use LoopNet, you're going to get an idea of some deals. There's a lot more deals out there than you'll see that are on LoopNet because they don't put all the deals on LoopNet, but you can start getting deals, start finding the brokers and then reach out to them, tell them what you're looking for, and then they can start sharing that with you. I am going to jump over to, I do want to jump into an area where I want to show you an OM if we can do it. So loopnet.com. Let's try Dallas. There's always good stuff in Dallas. Dallas, Texas. Oh, see, there you go. There's a ton of deals here in Dallas. I am going to, actually, we need to probably filter this out a little bit to multifamily. Just see if we can narrow it down to garden style. All right, we got a few deals here. We got a 6 unit, 6 unit, 4 unit, 71 unit. The 71 unit deal will probably have an offering memorandum with it. All right, here, if you can get it on LoopNet, guys, this is something that you're going to be looking for. It's called an OM. Show me in the chat. Are you guys familiar with an OM? If I say OM, can you give me a yes or a no? It'll help me know if I should go through and walk you through an OM really quick. No, Scarlett, you're not familiar with an OM. Anybody else? You guys ever seen an OM before? Oh, so No. Scarlett, yes. Okay, so no. Let's show you an OM. Here's what's nice about an OM, and this is a strategy I want you guys to use when you're going out and looking for deals. If you don't see a a deal with an OM, that's okay. You're learning right now. You're learning. So see if you can find a deal that has an OM. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. I'm going to show you what an OM is. The OM is what's called an offering memorandum. And so this is the marketing brochure that the brokers put together. This is a fantastic document to start your underwriting because the broker's done a lot of the underwriting for you. So I'm going to jump through an OM here. Immediately, it tells me how many units, tells me the year built, tells me where it's at. And then as I go through this, once again, here's all the brokers I could start reaching out to. I've got their phone numbers, I've got their email addresses. This is where your deals are going to come from. These are the people that you want to start building those relationships with. So they're going to give you a summary of the deal. They're going to tell you where it's at. You know, it's 97% occupied. So this is, you haven't even had to ask for a rent roll. You haven't had to ask for a T12 or any other documentation. They've got it here for you available on LoopNet, even the median household income. So just quickly looking at this, I've got a 1971 property. I like that. A 1974 property. I like that. It's 71 units. I like that. I can tell by looking at it with the painting here that probably somebody's had it in the last 3 to 5 years and they've done some rehab, which means there's not a lot of um, deferred maintenance on the property. It's probably relatively well taken care of. I'm not a fan of the color scheme, but that's okay. Maybe that's an opportunity for me to go in and change some things. But 97% occupied, 75,000 median household income. Um, you got high traffic in the area. So like right away, the OM is giving me valuable information. It's going to show me how much the previous owners, in this particular example, how much they've spent on the property, some things that they've done, an overall summary. But there's some other things. I'm not gonna go through every detail here, but the marketing brochure is gonna be fantastic when you guys are just start learning. It's gonna help you a lot with your underwriting in general. So a couple of things I want to show you here. So here's where you got your median household income. That's 5 miles. That's great information. Tells you a little bit more about what's going on in the demographic. They've got some rent comps in here for you. So they've already done the work of finding rent comps. They've already done the work of um, finding out what your future rent might be able to be. So here you've got your comps and what I really, you got your floor plans. Here's a site map. It shows you how the property is laid out. Here's a list of all your amenities at the property. Um, and they've already even done some financial analysis. And so here's something that's really nice. They've even done the effort to here's what the current rents are and here's what the future rents could be. That's going to help you a lot in your underwriting. So if you're first getting started, LoopNet can be a fantastic place to just practice before you even start reaching out to brokers. That's why I love this approach. Rather than spending hours and hours and hours and hours trying to find off-market deals, just go find some deals where you can start looking at and just getting a better question. Travis, your question is it random if there's an OM or is it available with a subscription? It's random. CREXI, we're going to go over to that here in a few minutes. CREXI's better at it, at least what I've seen in my experience. But it is random. The brokers that upload the information, they get to decide what they want to make available and what they want to not have available so that you'll reach out to them. Um, so yes, it's not if a paid subscription, it doesn't mean you're gonna get it. It truly is up to how the broker decides to upload it. But like I said, if you're just getting started, this is a great way to do it. They've even done a financial analysis. So they have what's called the T12. This is your trailing 12. It's the last 12 months of your profit and loss. So they've done this for you for your rental income, your other income, and your expenses. So you have that available to help you with your underwriting. And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll put together what's called a pro forma, and they'll put together your future, what it could look like in the future. So here's a 5 year forward looking what the deal could look like. Remember, this is the broker's opinion. Um, can you implement it? Maybe, maybe not. That's up to you. So when I teach my clients how to do underwriting, my motto is trust but verify. So I always teach them start with the brochure, the marketing brochure, the offering memorandum, if you can get it, underwrite it. If it looks good, then move forward. Then you can get into what we call the financial, the T12, the rent roll delinquency report. and then you would move forward with market survey. But the OM, the offering memorandums, is a great opportunity for you to get started and start seeing deals, like what is out there. Probably on those smaller deals, if you're thinking that you only want to do a 5 unit or under 10 units, you might not get OMs. This is going to probably be for 20 units and above. You'll get some type of an OM. And also, I will say, and Kylan, you're on here. It's easier, in my opinion, to go bigger. Your biggest limiting factor is really going to be raising capital. I'm not saying go after a 200 unit deal to get started, but I wouldn't even mess with a 5 or 10 unit. Probably, I would start looking at maybe in the 20 or 30 unit range if I was going to start looking. And it's actually much easier than you think. So don't think that you just need to start with a smaller property. But I wanted to show you an OM so you had an idea of what to even be looking for when you're going to LoopNet. So if you go to LoopNet or CREXI or Zillow, any of them for that matter, you're finding brokers to reach out to, because once you reach out to the broker, they will send you deals. They'll send you deals forever if that's what you want, and you get on their email list, and that's how you get like this pipeline of deals coming to you. Start by just taking a look at these websites, get familiar with it enough that you can reach out to them and say, hey, I'm looking for this type of a property and I'm new. Can you send me some deals? The most important thing that you need to do if they start sending you deals is giving them feedback. That's really important. They really, really, really want that. If you don't have that relationship with them, they're not going to send you deals. But the best thing that we've ever done is go out and set up calls with brokers. Here's who we are. Here's what we're looking at. Send us your deals. We'll get you feedback quickly. And then the deals are coming through. They're just coming through. And then you get to pick through like what it is you do and don't want. So for me, I'm leveraging the broker's experience rather than spending my time trying to go find deals. It's just makes more sense for me. There's other things I can be spending my time doing that are more important to drive my business forward than trying to find off market deals. That's not my job. I'll let somebody else do that. Okay. So this is LoopNet, totally free. If you want a little bit more, I think you put in your sign up for it and but really what they're trying to do if you sign up for it truly, they want to email you. LoopNet wants to email you deals and to bring you back. Let's jump over to CREXI. Now, I want to try something here. I'll just do a side-by-side comparison. What is the price range on 20 to 30 units? We got that question from Scarlett. That really depends on the market. It depends on the asset itself. Is it an A class, a B class, or a C class? So, Charlotte, I will tell you, let me put it in perspective for you. Um, in the Dallas Fort Worth market, I was recently looking at a couple of deals. One was 20 units. The other 32 units. All right, Kyle, and I'm going to get to your comment in a second. So Scarlett, the price on a 20 unit or 30 unit deal in Dallas Fort Worth area. Now it's a larger area. We're looking at one property built mid 70s, 20 unit deal because of its location and the age where it was at. It was about 83,000 per unit. Now, not too far away from that, different city, a 32 unit deal they're actively looking at. It's 130. They're actually marketing it for more than that. Let me see. I've got it up on my other screen here. They're actually marketing it closer to 155,000 per unit. And it's a 1984 property. So it's not a whole lot newer. It's just in a different neighborhood. It's a different part of town. So it's really hard for me to like pin that down. It depends on where in the United States you're looking. Scarlett, in the Jacksonville area, I'm not quite familiar with that yet. I do have a client who just sent me two deals yesterday from that area. So if you want to reach out to me in a few days, once I've had a chance to look at those, I can get you a better perspective because I think those are in the 20 to 30 unit range. So, but it's just market sensitive. Atlanta is going to be different. Houston's going to be different. Any market's going to be different. So I wish I had a better answer for you, but you've got to look at the property and understand it. I think it's probably better to look at it more at the cap rate, and even that's going to be market specific. But shooting from the hip, I would say probably somewhere around a 6% cap rate, but then you're gonna have to look at some financial data. So Kylan, economies of scale. Kylan says economies of scale. Having a bigger property allows you to get cheaper bids since you're buying in bulk. You can hire a professional management company. You can pay a higher salary to get more qualified staff. During rough times, you can still be vacant and still cash flow if you can become the shark in the neighborhood by controlling the rents. So absolutely. That's why it makes sense to, if you have a larger deal, and it doesn't have to be huge, but if you can, like if you have a single family home and somebody moves out, you go from 100% occupied to 100% vacant overnight. If you have a larger property, you always have some people that aren't there. You're trying to have a 90 to 95% occupancy, right? If you can maintain 95% occupancy all the time, you're happy. But that you just allow for the people to be moving out. Plus, you get the professional property management. And just like Kylan said, if you get the right size property and the property is doing well, you can afford to have better staff. And what happens when you have better staff? The residents are happier. What happens when you have happy residents? They refer people. What happens when you have happy residents? They don't have a problem paying more for rent when you have to increase it. And that's just something you have to do. So there's this kind of snowball flywheel effect of when you start having some of these larger properties. And like I said, don't have this limiting belief. You've got to start small and scale up. My first property, and it doesn't have to be this. I should have started a little bit smaller. My first deal was like 180 units, with no experience. I just, was able to find partners and get into that deal. But I wouldn't recommend you go for that because it took me a very long time and I missed a lot of opportunities by just having my sights on something huge. And I could have built up a portfolio much quicker had I gone with some smaller deals and some smaller partnerships. So don't let that hold you back. Um, Great questions. I appreciate it coming through. I want to move on because I don't want to run out of time here, but we're going to do CREXI. We're going to do for sale. We're going to change this over to multifamily. We're going to do apartment buildings. You'll see some similarities. They are different. I'm going to go back to Jacksonville just because I want to see. I just kind of want to do a comparison between LoopNet. Never miss a deal. See, here you go. They want they they really want to get my information. Um, all right, so I've got 34 results. Let me see where the filtering is here. Now, a little bit different. They do have A class, B class, C class, D class here in this. That's very subjective. What somebody might say is A minus, another person might say is a B plus, and so I wouldn't heavily rely on this. I think you're probably better off to consider the years of the property. And I'm also probably going to turn off auction here. And the rest of these are fine here. Um, so I'm not going to mess with this. I could do minimum number of units. Let's do 20 and above. Okay, so it is down to 2 listings. So I think that side by side, they're going to show you similar properties. Um, it just does drop me down to 2 listings if I do that. My guess is it's probably the same too. Maybe different, but okay. So this one's unpriced, and we got this one. This is a 20-unit deal, Jacksonville. What I do like about CREXI as opposed to LoopNet is I do find I'm much more likely to get an OM in CREXI. So I think it was Travis asking that question. Um, yeah, this has been consistent for me. I haven't used CREXI a whole lot because most of my deal flow comes from brokers at this point. But being that CREXI is becoming more popular, this is something that I like about them, is they're much more likely to have these. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on this. Every every deal is going to be a little bit different. UOM probably just wants me to sign in here. I'm not going to do it live because we already saw an OM. And you don't need all my personal information. But um, fill out that information, you get access to it. The worst thing that happens is they're going to send you some emails. They're going to say, hey, here's some more deals, here's some more deals. And that's just part of the game. But you will get access to that. Once again, you're going to find the brokers who are there. CREXI shows you that they have a lot of data. If you wanted to pay for some of it, they have some of that available. Let's see what they'll show you. Yeah. Okay. So they're not really showing me anything because they want me to pay for it. But you don't honestly need all that. We bought and sold several properties. We've never had a paid subscription. Um, yeah, it's just not something that you have to have. But I am gonna go over to we'll go back over to Dallas really quick. Dallas, Texas. All right, my filters are still applied, so I'm still looking at 20 units and larger. We got 18 listings. Here's that same property we're looking at from the multifamily group. Exact same one. So you are going to have some similarities. Like I said, this you're going to have likely you're going to have more. Okay. So interesting. Okay. The on the other property, they wanted me to fill out information. On this property, they are sharing with me the OM. So Travis, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Um, especially if you're first getting started. Same information here, same property, just side by side. Um, it just kind of depends on what your preference is here. But they're both great. They're both great websites. They're both going to get you a lot of information that you need. Just another place for them to get data. The other area, the other tool I want to show you, um, ironically enough, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to say, you probably don't need to use it, but I'm still going to show you, is Zillow, because that's if you're thinking of the MLS. You don't get as many options here. I'm gonna go to apartments. Okay. You don't get as many filtering options here. It just isn't there. So these are all smaller deals. I can't even filter to larger deals. So clearly you can see Zillow, the MLS, it only has access to smaller deals. None of these I'm interested in. These are small deals. So it's out there. If you've been using it, you're limiting yourself. You have other tools that are free and available to you. The other thing I want to show you, and actually I got a comment here from Kylan. The benefit of the cap rate is a game changer as well. So you got an example here in the chat, Kylan. 100 units times a $25 rent increase is $2,500 a month. That's $30,000 a year at a 6% cap rate. That's a $500,000 in additional property value. Of course, you may not collect 100%, but just for you to get the idea. So that's a great point. So um, these the improvements you make to the property, a lot of them are at a per unit level. So if you can, and sometimes they're $10 or $20. They're not big, but like Kylan's example is spot on. $25 rent increase. You've only got if you got 5 units versus 100 units, there's a big difference in the valuation change. So better economies of scales, you have a better potential to increase the overall revenue of the property as well. So um, go as big as you can, but don't go too big. So right now, what I'm saying, preaching in the market is probably 20 to 60 units is a really good starting point. If you're partnering with the right people, you can get something larger than that. But that's just a good sweet spot. It's a great place to get started before you try to get to some of these big deals. All right, the last thing I want to show you before we drop, because we're starting to run out of time. Here's an example, Marcus and Millichap, or here's another one, Berkadia. You can probably go to CBRE. You'll notice that there's some brokerage firms that are larger. Marcus and Millichap is one, Berkadia is one, CBRE is one. There's smaller ones, but they all like to list deals on their website. They need to market as well. So you can also use something like a Marcus and Millichap, and we're going to filter down here. We're going to do apartments, multifamily, and I'm going to do Dallas. Okay. And these are just going to be Marcus and Millichap deals. And I don't want to save that. But here's another way that I could start looking at deals. And here they likely are going to want me to go to their deal room. The deal room, see offering memorandum and deal room. If I click this, they're going to want me to sign some type of confidentiality agreement or sign into that, which that's okay. If you don't mind doing that, the brokers might reach out to you. But all of this to say, guys, there's a lot of different ways to find deals. So if you're struggling to find deals, hopefully this solves that problem for you, so that you can start finding deals. If you're just getting started, you need to start taking some reps. You need to start getting some practice. You need to just understand the markets better. So you've got a lot of options out there to go and start finding deals from broker websites. You could use Zillow. I don't recommend it. You've got CREXI, you've got LoopNet. You can reach out to brokers. As soon as you're ready to reach out to brokers, you can get a lot of deal flow, a lot of deal flow. For those of you that are interested in scaling up, for those of you that want to move a little bit faster, I know this, Kylan, you're on, you can attest to this. Getting into your first apartment deal, it can actually be pretty hard. And if you're trying to do it yourself, very lonely. But what if I can help you solve that? So the biggest problems people normally have are finding deals. I just helped you out with that one. Underwriting deals, that takes a lot of practice to understand the nuances. And then there's always raising capital. How are you going to pay for these deals? So what if I can help you solve those problems and show you how to go full time? Most of you want to create this passive income stream. What would that do for you? And the answer is it would probably change everything. It's going to help you accomplish your goals. So if you guys are interested, when you're ready, I've got a couple different coaching options available for you to move you through a little bit quicker. The community is great. You can connect with other people. I've got a few more trainings I'm going to drop in. But if you want to move quicker, I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to just hop on a call with me. And what we're going to do on that call is we're going to take a look at where you're at, where you want to be, what some of your challenges are. I'll give you some advice. I'll say these are the things you need to be focusing on. And if I think you're a good fit, and you're interested, then I'll show you what the options are for coaching. So give me just a moment and I'm going to drop a link in the chat so that you guys have access to that. Kyle, I'm going to answer your question in just a moment. So I got to get this link to share with you for anybody that's interested. I had it available, but now it's becoming not as easy as I was hoping to copy and paste, but I got a few minutes left. Copy link. Okay, let me drop this in the chat for you. Okay, so if you'd like to schedule a call, go ahead and do that. We'll talk some strategies for you. There's a link right there. Kylan, your question is, when underwriting, how do you track your progress to know if you're becoming better at underwriting since each deal will not pencil out the same? That's a really good question. Kylan, for me, like you have to underwrite enough deals. When I first started underwriting deals, none of them worked. None of them did. I think the missing piece for me was taking the time to go back to somebody that had experience. So going to a mentor or a coach and saying, hey, how close am I? How close am I? How close am I? So that's one thing that helps. But the other thing is you have to underwrite enough deals to understand the market. Um, Once you do it enough, then you start to learn. So there's a lot of things we didn't cover, Kylan, and there's a lot of things you know. So some indicators, some data that you can get access to is like a CoStar report. And that CoStar information, that data you can fold into it's market industry data. And that's going to help you with things like vacancy rate in the area, submarket data, occupancy trends, rent trends in the past, in the future. And once you start becoming familiar with that and you stay in a market long enough, and Colin, I'd love to get your feedback and your thoughts on this, but it's your first deal, you don't know what you don't know. So just expect that you don't know what you don't know. Your second deal you underwrite, you become a little bit better in your third, your fourth, your fifth, but it's going to take you several deals to underwrite. To track your progress and do it alone is going to be very, very, very hard. You need to find somebody who's done it before you that can help you out, whether that's a partner, it's a mentor, a coach. I think that's the best way to get you that feedback, if that's right. So, Kylan, do you have any thoughts on that? Because I know that we were chatting earlier, and you said that you're spending more time underwriting. So, are there things that you're looking for, specific areas you're looking for feedback on? I give you a moment to get that in the chat, and I've got just a few minutes, and then I've got to. Well, I'm gonna leave that there. Kylan, feel free to reach out to me if you want to do an underwriting review. Happy to do that with you. So for the rest of you, like I said, if you want to hop on a call, if you guys are ready, you want to see if you're ready to maybe move forward. A lot of you are just kind of checking things out, like maybe it's right for you, maybe it's not. I can help you. I help you get answers to that pretty quickly. So I appreciate your time. great questions coming in, and we'll have a new topic for you guys next week. So, all right, Kyle, you said I completely agree. Being inside the market plus having a mentor has helped you out a lot. I had mentioned you to you earlier, mainly just the CapEx and pro forma expenses, but I'll definitely reach out to schedule a call. So, um, what Kylan's talking about, this is a more advanced underwriting topic, and maybe that's something that we can schedule in for the group. CapEx is your budget. When you're underwriting a deal, you have to come up with a budget of how much money you're going to spend, because you're going to need to do some improvements. And when you're going to need to fix some things are just like the roof. Maybe you need to do that. That doesn't make you any money, but you got to do it. You might have some a boiler, a chiller, some HVAC units that need to be fixed. Doesn't make you any money. It's something you got to do. You got to have budget for that. And then also, if you're going to be doing covered parking, private yards, unit renovations, that all of that together is called your CapEx budget. That becomes a lot harder, until you've got a little bit more experience or someone to help you out. That becomes a lot harder. And pro forma expenses as well. Like, how do you dial that in? A lot of that comes with, once you spend some time managing a property, you start to see, oh, I understand how much this is. But I'll tell you, for me, I leverage my network very heavily. I will pick up the phone, I will call people, and I will say, hey, I've never done this before. Can you help me figure this out? And I did that the other day, actually, Colin, I did with Gabriel. I called him up and he said, you know what? Hold on. Conference me in. We talked to somebody else. They gave me a number right there on the phone. So it is that network is also very, very, very important. So just showing up. I think, Kylan, I mean, you've been doing it for years now, but for the rest of you, showing up continually, that's what it takes to get better and move forward. So everybody, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll be active in the school community, and I'll see you guys next week.